Welcome to this week's episode of the Collective Mindset Podcast. We are here to pump you up. We are going to be talking about some cool announcements that just came out, new loan limits. What else we got?
We got the 2024 new loan limits, and we want to touch on the Case Schiller Price Appreciation Index that measures home prices, home
price
values.
Appreciation, yeah. And debunk a few things maybe, right? About kind of how people are feeling, some sentiments out there in the market. So, Jordan, why don't you tell us what these new loan limits are and what do they mean for us?
Yeah, that's exciting stuff. So this is for your conventional loan limits, conventional loans only. But we had a 5.5% increase from 2023. So the new 2024 loan limit will be $766,550.
It's huge.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I did the math, Gavin. And with 5% down, you can buy an $800,000 house.
Dude, that's crazy.
Right?
I like it, though.
That's
Why
a
not?
nice house,
Yeah.
man. That's a really nice house.
That's a really nice house. That's super awesome. That opens up a lot of doors for people. I think jumbo loans, when you have to venture into jumbo loans or look at doing like a first and second mortgage, you're going to have some limits on what you can do, right? Departing residences are a little more problematic. So when you can, buy an $800,000 house and
With 5%?
with 5% down and conventional normal guidelines, that's a game changer.
Well, here's the cool thing, too, that I look at. So let's say that you financed and you bought a house a couple years ago and you bought a house when conforming loan limit was $645,000.
Yeah.
646, I forget what it was. And then you put in a pool and did some different things and you got a home equity line of credit and maybe you got a little credit card debt. Well, guess what? In 2024, let's say your home is now worth $1 million, you can do a cash out refi up to $766,000 and consolidate all of that into one first mortgage at a lower rate. So
Yeah.
in my mind, high five, that's great news. Anytime you can get a larger conforming loan instead of a jumbo loan or piggyback loan scenario, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they even financed the pool. Maybe they added solar and financed that. Like there's a lot of tools now that are open with a higher loan limit like that. So that's sweet. I was also just thinking, so the one soft spot in the market, at least here in Arizona in the Valley, has been kind of that mid-level home, right? High-end luxury has been pretty resilient thus far. Anything that's entry level or considered first-time home buyer is just flying off the shelves.
Like
There's
sub
tons
500K.
tons of competition, but kind of that like homes between 600 and $1 million have been a little bit harder to sell. And so I wonder if just having, being able to put 5% down on an $800,000 house, maybe that helps shake a few of those homes loose. Just a thought.
Probably. I think that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So with the Case Schiller thing, Case Schiller Home Price Appreciation Index.
Mm-hmm.
They measure from, I think it's September to September.
That's what the data came out.
Yeah, so September to September from 2022 to 2023, we had what was it? What was the number? I think
it was 3.9% appreciation.
3.9% appreciation. When everyone was predicting negative.
Doom and gloom and crash, right?
Yeah, home values to drop. And maybe we need to be transparent, right? I think Phoenix, Arizona in particular, experienced maybe a little bit different story, but nationwide, that's the number, 3.9%.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, if you're going to sit here and say Arizona's experienced this massive, a depreciation or a home value drop over the last 12 months, I think that would be very much kind of like segmented to different parts of the valley, right? Some have fared better, some are worse. New home versus old home, parts of the valley that are is gentrified a bad word? Is that a bad word?
I don't think so.
But I feel like it's always got a bad connotation.
I don't know what it means.
Well, it's like, right, when there's older homes and they're being bought up by people who are coming in and making them trendy and hip and cool, and people who still live there, or the original people that live there, always feel like
I think that the numbers in Phoenix really weren't that bad. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to understand, like Phoenix is always it's like a leading market. It's one of the first markets to go up and first
Yeah.
markets to go down. We have a pretty volatile market. Like the Utah market held strong just because of the supply demand there. But so here in Arizona, it actually only went down. I think it was like 1%.
Yeah.
But
which
the
is
numbers,
almost nothing.
if you analyze it, it's because it's from September to September.
Yeah.
The reason why it showed a slight loss is because the December, January numbers of 2022, January 2023 were so poor that it dragged down. But as soon as you drop off, when you get the February to February report from Case Schiller, Phoenix is going to be one of the top appreciating markets again because we turned right back around. And so that's the thing. And obviously seasonality, like the market just doesn't do super hot here in the early winter months.
It's
just
interesting.
for whatever reason.
Interesting you say that because like we have a lot of fix and flipper friends.
Yeah.
And I feel like I remember all of them kind of hitting the panic button, right?
Yeah.
Last July, September, or July, August, September, and those flips that they did would have hit, you know, in November, December, January, which is when those numbers were a little more depressed.
Well, if you remember too, at the end of the year, that was when that big we went from, you know, touching fives and stuff to just straight up into the sixes, and we were just all scratching our heads, going like, "Holy cow!" And it was a scarier time in the market.
It was a real mind bender.
Yeah,
you know?
even though rates now are in the sevens, it's still whatever, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, about rates being in the sevens. I mean, man, you can get into the sixes pretty easy.
Yeah, what's cool?
That's not that much right now to get down into the sixes.
Yeah, it wasn't just a couple of weeks ago. We were on here talking about the 10-year Treasury hitting at 5%, and we're at like 4.25% today.
Yeah,
I mean, huge relief right there.
Yeah, I saw some economist, right, and they were like, "Oh, we predict that the 10-year Treasury will be below 4% by the end of 2024." And I'm like, "That's a year from now. We just dropped 0.75 of a point in 3 months, 2 months. Was it even that?
It was like 6 weeks.
6 weeks." And I'm like, if we keep on this trend, I think we'll hit that a little sooner, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. What do I know?
Well, the interesting data. So, I mean, we all need to come to an agreement here that the government is messing with the data right now.
Yeah.
in many different ways. And the main way is, you know, they just revised this third quarter GDP number. It was surprisingly spectacular, like 5.3%.
Yeah.
Right? But 5.2%. But 5.5% of that, of the positive, was government spending.
Shut up.
So if you take away government spending, the economy actually contracted by like 0.2, 0.3%.
Oh man, is that for reals?
Yeah, dude.
Did you read that article?
I did. Don't you remember the Inflation Reduction Act, bro? When they decided they're going to spend $1 trillion to combat inflation.
Sometimes I just read the articles that Jordan tells me to read.
It's insane, guys.
I don't
are they
read
playing?
them.
That's the thing. Are they playing with the? I mean, who knows, right? It's what you and we feel out there. The good news is that mortgage bonds have been rallying lately. Rates have been cooling off. Inflation does feel like it's kind of peaked. Gas prices are coming down, which is nice. And typically gas prices coming down is a sign of a recession. So, you know, everybody's talking about the shopping numbers, and Black Friday was record breaking, but
It was for me.
that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was reading another article about how what did they call it? It was like panic spending or panic buying. The people don't have any money, but they're spending it anyway.
We're just trying to make ourselves feel better, bro.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. And it's like, and I'm sitting there going, am I guilty of that? You know, I might have done that a time or two.
Yeah, it was funny. Well, right, that one, Jordan, you sent me a sale that I hopped on right away, man. And
oh, yeah, you did.
You missed it.
Well, I wasn't really I was doing it for you. Sometimes I shop
shop for me.
you because I know you will buy. So
I'm a sucker for a sale. But yeah, I think people are shopping, man. The malls are crazy. Walmart's crazy. Target's crazy. People are spending money.
It's Christmas time, man.
Yeah.
People are going to buy stuff for their families and kids, and they'll figure out how to pay for it later.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can figure out how to pay for it. But could get a little interesting, as they like to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we've talked about it, right? Like the Fed talks about it, the soft landing or the crash, right? What are we headed for? I feel like my political disposition makes me believe the soft landing is just never going to happen and that there's some big crash coming because all of the government's actions have been absolutely insane. But maybe they'll prove me wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we will have a soft landing. And I think regardless of whether we get that soft landing or we experience something a little more impactful, it's probably going to be good for rates. And it's it's going to pop the lid off of the bottleneck here of buyers that are looking to enter the market. So,
well, every major forecast from Fannie Mae to Freddie Mac to Board of Realtors to you name it, Mortgage Bankers Association, everyone's projecting rates lower. And most people are at least low sixes. A couple of them got aggressive and said fives. I would concur with that. I would think that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so if I guess the point to what I wanted to make early on is if appreciation was 3.9%, considering how we were in this significantly rate hiking cycle where rates were spiking and we still had appreciation, what do you think is going to happen to home values when we know that trend has been broken and we're on our way back down?
Mm-hmm.
So every month rates go from 7.25 to 6.99 to 6.75, and the consumer starts to feel like rates are dropping. What do you think that does to home values?
Yeah, it's almost like the entire system is designed to debase the value of our dollars and send asset prices higher.
Yeah. Well, that's what some people are saying. They're like,
that was a little bit of a joke, but it's
I
going to happen.
But it's kind of the scary thing because then they could come back and say, see, inflation's happening again.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the supply and demand issue that we're going to face once again.
Yeah.
And if people know that lower rates are in the future, then it's going to make them a lot easier to pull the trigger on buying that house.
Yeah. We've said it a bunch of times. If you don't own a home right now, you've got to be working towards it. You've got to be looking at those options that you've got, finding a way to get prepared, talking to a broker, to us. Like, you just can't be sitting on the sidelines right now.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe, right, that people who don't own a home in the near future are just going to lose the opportunity to ever own one.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's the thing on that note too, that we're working on running a special right now that, like, if you buy a house, you get the seller to pay a minimum of 1% seller concession, and we'll do a 1.0 buy down. So what that means is for 1%, we can buy the rate down for 1 full percent for the first 12 months. So let's say at the time you do this, rates are at 7%. Your effective rate during that first 12 months would be 6%. Makes that payment a lot affordable. And if you're asking me, Jordan, in 12 months from now, what is the likelihood of rates being at 6%? Well, I already told you, a majority of the professional forecasters are all saying that that's where rates are going to be at, if not lower. And so it's kind of like this win-win. So you almost have an effective rate of being like at 6% this whole time because you could then refinance and off you go. And so homes become more affordable. But if you do that, we'll be throwing in a free appraisal with that. So it makes sense on our side. I won't get into those details, but a free appraisal, and you get this 1.0 buy down. So that's coming from the top because most lenders are going like, hey, we gotta offer some perks so that 6 months down the road, people aren't refinancing us and doing different things because rates are high. Yep. So lenders are going to start offering cool little things, and we want to be on the forefront of what's happening there as the market kind of gains some steam here into 2024.
I love that. And not only on top of that, right? Like when these rates do drop, we're doing no cost refis down the line, right? So for any clients that buy a home with us or do a loan with us, when the time comes, here hopefully in the next 12 months, 24 months, we'll cover your fees. We'll make it easy for you guys and drop that rate. So lots of reasons why now could be the time to start looking at this and maybe you decide something different is right for you, right? I've heard some people decide that renting is for them, and that's cool, but you shouldn't be making that decision without exploring it and without at least talking to some professionals and getting some data, getting some information on it. So
legit, I love it. Well, guys, yeah, man. Anything else in the comments? You want to come at us hard and fast?
Get that Christmas shopping done because everything's going to be sold out and Amazon will stop delivering on time real soon before you know it.
It's frustrating when you miss out on deals. Tell you what. Dude. When you're just like, what the Cyber Monday?
I had at least 3 TVs in my shopping cart and I missed them all, man. Just kidding.
In January 2024, we're going to have an exciting announcement for those of you who stuck around. New business going live. Can't wait to roll this thing out. We'll talk about that a lot and how we go about building that. But anyway, you guys are great. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Bye,
Peace.
Mom.